we went ahead and we put out a request to the public and was soliciting some questions.
Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and read off a few that we got.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and start with the easy ones.
The real easy one. My name is Cindy.
So the question is, when you first started first off, when did you start training jiu-jitsu and when did you get your black belt?
I started training in 1994 and I got my black belt in 2001. So took me like 7 years to get my black belt.
Awesome. Did you compete a lot when you were coming up the ranks?
You know what? When I first started, because there weren't women around till like maybe a year later or something, I was always training with the guys. So I started out first I was at IMB doing like Kali and kickboxing and stuff like that. And then I went to Gold's Gym and the Machados were teaching at the gym so it was included in your membership. So that's where I started, a bunch of guys rolling on the ground. And so I decided, hey, if someone's going to attack me, it's going to be a guy. So I wanted to learn how to defend myself. So that's where I started and then have been doing it ever since. So.
Awesome. So you've come up the ranks with a lot of people that are of the people that you came up the ranks. How many are still around training?
Oh, so Jocelyn, Chris Shaw, Felicia, Ghazi, I think is still training. I don't know. I don't know offhand, but I think the majority, some people have injuries, chronic injuries, so they're not really on the mat. Which like I say, I'm telling you, people who are training now, listen to your injuries because they're going to come nip you in your butt when you're older. And then you're going to know that, hey, I should have healed it, So just letting you guys know. But yeah, when I was I didn't compete till I was a blue belt. So I was training with this one girl and we go, hey, let's just compete. Because competition, I think jiu-jitsu brings out your competitiveness, like the competitiveness you don't know you have. And when you're training against the guy and stuff and you want to just get them or control them, that's when it comes out. So her and I were first like, oh, no, I don't want to. Oh, no, let's do it. No, let's not do it. So the first time we competed was in Hawaii in 1997 for the Pan Ams.
Oh, wow.
That was my first tournament. Yeah. And as I started to progress, there was tournaments, but there was no women to compete against because there wasn't that many women out there. So a lot of times I would go sign up and there was nobody for me to fight. So, it is what it is. But I did a little bit of my competition and that's okay because I'm glad I did it, but I love teaching more than I do competing.
Awesome.
But I'm glad I did it.
Are you teaching still?
I still teach. I teach at Ika BJJ. He's a black belt under Rigan, and I teach privates. And I've taught a couple other places, but some of them unfortunately like shut down, or I just like now that I've gotten older, I like just teaching a couple classes, and then I like teaching my privates. So
awesome.
But over at our academy, we'll have like open mat. And it doesn't matter what school, whatever. It's like, hey, come roll. Let's just have fun, So that's what I like.
So you've seen jiu-jitsu go from
one tournament
a year to what it is now to a huge community of women. And I mean, you and all the women that came up during your time are really responsible for helping inspire, the next generation and the next generation and the next generation. Did you ever think that jiu-jitsu would grow to be what it is today?
No, my whole thing was I was always having fun and learning. And it was never about the black belt. Because honestly, from when I got my brown, I'm like, I don't want it. No, you're getting it. I don't want it. Then when I got my black, I don't want it. But then the thing is, you get it, and you're a little uncomfortable. And then the first time you put on that belt, and then, you're a little scared because you have X on your back now. But, you grow into it personally, mentally. So, it's I think it's something that you, I don't know, like I said, it's not something I was looking for or looking at as a goal, but I'm glad I got there. And I'm glad that, like they say with jiu-jitsu and being a black belt, you're never not learning. You're always learning something new. I mean, I've learned stuff from white belts, blue belts, purple belts, and stuff like that. So I just love jiu-jitsu. It's just amazing to me. Still to this day, I think it's 26 years now.
Wow. Yeah. So it never gets old.
No, it doesn't. I had those days where you're like, hey, I want to get my belt back. But yeah, no, and I tell people, it's for self-defense. It's learning to defend yourself, but you need to be able to enjoy it and have fun. And like a lot of people say, when you're on the mat, you're learning life lessons. So patience, being humble, just things like that, being sensitive to other people, just a bunch of stuff that carries you out in your regular day life. So, that's why I love it.
So when back in your era, were you training with all these women on a regular basis, or?
So what happened was, I was at Gold's Gym, and a woman would come in, come out, go in, go out. And then a year later, I went to the Machado Academy and signed up. So I was at Gold's for a year under the Machados. And then I met, then Kathy Brothers. She came in. So she's tough. So she came in, we would train, and then they moved. And then what happened, like down the years, was Lekka came. And she ended up teaching at the Machados. And she built the women's class up to like 20 something girls, and 12 of us competed.
And what year was that?
Like 1990 something, 1999.
Wow, that's phenomenal.
1999, I think so. Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
But Chris knows all the facts. But it was Chris Shaw, Felicia would come train with us every so often, Jocelyn, just all these girls. And
so you always had women to train with during that time?
For the most part. Yeah. So like in the late 90s, yeah. But before then, it's just like I have my friend still who's a black belt, and he was my best friend because he wasn't going to hurt me. I know, he would roll nicely. And, there's a lot, like, I'm fortunate because I've heard stories from other women, like they've had bad experiences at their academies they've been to. But for the most part, the Machados, Hegan, they've always been supportive. And the people there, the guys, have always been like my big brothers, always looked out for me and stuff like that. So I've been very fortunate,
Yeah, I've spent the past 20 years in Texas, and Carlos was he's the one who brought jiu-jitsu to Texas. And Kathy Brothers, I believe she's the first black belt in the state of Texas. And just like California, it's a long list, of like, I think we're up to like 30 something women black belts.
It's amazing.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm so amazed and so happy to see it, happen. And just so many younger girls and women starting young or older in their 40s, 50s, and doing this art. So,
no, absolutely.
What made you move to Texas?
A guy.
Okay.
I actually kick myself because I was in college in Palos Verdes in the 90s, and I knew what jiu-jitsu was, but I was just like, it wasn't for me at that time, but I'm like,
over to us with us.
I know. I'm like, I could have been training with like legends. Kick myself.
We would have had fun.
I know. I was like right there by Torrance,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But yeah.
But that's okay. Now we know each other.
Exactly. How did so what was the first tournament, like the first big tournament that came
that was out there? Joe Moreira would have tournaments at Irvine. And then it was Kleber. And I know they had a Pan Am in Redondo Beach too. So because I'm older and because I probably lost some brain cells from getting choked out or whatever, I forget like the dates, like what area around. I kind of know, but yeah. So yeah, those were like the first ones. And I think Joe's was like once a year at the beginning. So nowadays they're left and right, but before you had to wait for a tournament. So, you know, it's way different. It's like the UFC. There was like how many UFCs once every so often. And
it was like it used to be a big deal. I remember like back in the I started in 2003, and we would like get everybody together. And now it's like, oh, there's another. I mean, not right now, but now there's another UFC.
You pick which one you want to pay for now.
Exactly. It was a novelty. So did you ever get to go out to Brazil?
I actually went in let me think. It was when I was a brown belt. So 2000.
What was it like training in Brazil in 2000?
So what happened is 2 weeks me, Felicia, Krisha, and Leka went to go compete. So this is so back in the day you watched VHS tapes, you know. So I would watch the tournament, the world tournament on VHS, and I would just, you know, you see like the teams, how much they support their teammates and how much passion they have for their sport, you know, and the love for their country and stuff like that. And so I watched it, and at that time I didn't think I was going to ever go to Brazil, but we went, and 2 weeks before I competed, I sprained my MCL.
Oh no!
So it went pop like that. So anyway, I was going to the acupuncturist like 6 times before I left, and it hurt still. So anything this way was fine, but anything when I was trying to like horizontal or, you know, move side to side, or, you know, somebody's trying to pass my guard and stuff, it hurt. So I used a brace, and then we went, and then so when we went to the world tournament, you walk in, and this is one of the most amazing feelings I have ever felt, is you walk in and you feel just the energy from all the competitors and all the people who are watching. And it's something I probably will never feel again. It was amazing, you know, to be in Brazil and be at the world tournament and go compete and just feel that energy.
Yeah, I remember the only time I've ever gotten to go to Brazil was, it was back in 2010. And I remember walking into I think it's probably the same arena that they used to do the world, the tennis club.
That's right. Yeah.
And I remember, I think I lost your video here, Cindy.
Am I here?
I hear you. I don't see you.
Okay, well, we can.
Yeah, we'll keep talking. Hey, we got to roll with it, right? That's what jiu-jitsu is all about. Just roll with the punches here. But I remember, like, to get your T-shirt at the Rio Open, you had to bring a bag of rice and beans. And
really?
Yeah, they had some kind of charity, and so that's how you got your T-shirt at the Rio Open in 2010. Is bring some rice and beans, and you get your T-shirt.
Cool.
Yeah, it was really awesome. I was really stoked with that. So one of our questions is, I guess, what has been you've had a phenomenal jiu-jitsu journey. What has been, and it might be hard to narrow it down, but what has been your most memorable experience or memory that you have?
Most memorable experience?
Something that you just really, really value, or a pivotal point in your jiu-jitsu training. Or
one thing is I've been blessed to be able to train with Cassia Gracie, and her Hickson actually is the one instructing us. So every time I go train with them, I'm just amazed of how much my jiu-jitsu is, how he teaches and what his methods are.
Who's one of your favorites? I mean, I'm sure you've trained with amazing people, but who would be one of your top 5, I guess, people that you've learned from over the years?
Well, with Leka being my size, so what happened is I was training with guys at my academy and always be on the bottom, things like that. And when Leka came, well, actually, I ended up started taking privates with her before she came to our academy. But what I learned from her is how to use your body, because she's my size, my weight, and she's a world champ. But I learned so much from her and her technique, and I would take the lesson, go back at my academy and try it on the guys. And they're like, "Where'd you learn that?" And I'm like, "From Leka." So to stay on top or be able to manage to get out from the bottom, just because she's a woman and because she's not using the strength that sometimes you learn to use when it's all about technique, and understanding jiu-jitsu. So yep.
So was she one of the first women that you trained with, or was she a black belt at that point?
Yeah, she came to our academy and kicked my butt all the and then we started to train. I'm like, well, what are you doing here? How are you holding me down this way? And so she would show me, so yeah, I've had a really blessed journey. I've had a lot of, Regan, some of the Machado brothers, John, and them, just some of the guys who came up in rank with the Machados, the black belts, who always helped us out too. So, like I said, I've been very blessed.
Well, I think all of us aspire to have a journey that has been filled with so much, just amazing experiences as yours has. I mean, just in my 17 years of doing this, like, I feel like honored to have been in the right place at the right time and to have seen it evolve, and to have my paths cross with women like yourself. I remember meeting you last year. I think was the first time we met in person. And it was like that event, that Girls and Geese event, was like up there with one of my favorites, because it was just like the who's who of jiu-jitsu.
But us black belts and the girls who are around appreciate you women who take their time and devote their time to be able to.
And I will have to throw this back on you and say, if not for women like yourself and your generation, there wouldn't be opportunities for someone like myself and all the women within my generation that are really trying to, continue the legacy that you guys started. So thank you to you as well, because I think, if there weren't, you guys did the heavy lifting.
Oh no, thank you. Because like I said, if it wasn't for women who ended up being interested in it either, and being able to stick with it, it wouldn't be where it's at either. So, it's everybody. So.
Oh, absolutely. I think just by getting on the mats and having a presence, we're inspired, women are inspiring other women and other girls just by doing jiu-jitsu, because there's so many moms nowadays that are come in because their kids start jiu-jitsu and they sit on the sidelines, and then they see women teaching, and then they see women training, and they go, oh, I can be strong. I can learn this. It's within my capability to do this as well. And you were the start of that movement, so
at that point it's cool because the women will take their kids to class and then they're like, why am I not doing this? Or the instructor will come over, hey, how come you're not doing jiu-jitsu? And then they end up doing it, so, or I think too, just the start of the MMA, how women wanted to start doing kickboxing, kickboxing classes or whatever. And then they end up seeing, hey, there's jiu-jitsu for women, or there's jiu-jitsu for self-defense, or just jiu-jitsu in general. And then it's easier for them to start to train in that too as well. So.
No, absolutely. There's a lot of women, I think, that cross over from doing Muay Thai or other kind of kickboxing.
Yeah.
that look at it and go, oh, okay, that looks fun. Because jiu-jitsu is intimidating for a lot of people, you know, at first, as you know, it's some close human contact, you know.
Yeah, sweating and all that stuff, but the endorphins you get from training.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Don't you think?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that's what keeps a lot of people, and it builds their I mean, you could list the list of how jiu-jitsu benefits people is like, it just keeps getting longer and longer and longer, you know. But so I'm gonna close out with one last question. What has been the biggest change that you've seen in jiu-jitsu that you're happy that happened, or that you are glad happened? And then what would you like to see? What would be the next biggest change that you would like to see happen in the future of jiu-jitsu?
Well, so with the MMA thing and everything, I thought that wouldn't flourish, but they just there seems to be so many more academies since then, which I'm so happy for. And my whole thing is because I had somebody interview me, and she was saying, like, what do you want? Where do you see jiu-jitsu going? I don't know if I see it there, but I would want it to be an Olympic sport, but I don't know if it can get to that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just because it's not like judo where it's under one umbrella, you know. Yeah, but that's something I would like to see, the jiu-jitsu in the Olympics. But I don't know if it would ever happen, but I would think it would be amazing to see.
Hey, never say never, right?
Yeah. Exactly. So, you know, maybe in 10 years, 20, I don't know, in 20 years, I'll be 60, 80.
Oh yeah, you'll be one of our wise gurus.
You know what, too? I think it's either 2000. I think it's 2002. I got black belt. Like I said, I'm so ditzy right now.
I know. I don't know what day it is. I don't know what month it is. Like, I feel like I've been in this like time warp where things are just kind of dragging really slow, but then speeding up at times. Yeah.
It's a crazy time. I don't think anyone's ever experienced it.
No. And I hope we never do again.
Exactly. That we learn from it, you know. Absolutely. But anyways, I just want everybody to stay safe and healthy and keep doing jiu-jitsu once it's safe.
Exactly.
To go back.
I think it should.
I'm going to wait a bit before I go back on the mat. Yeah, to see what. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's kind of interesting because I think we're just kind of waiting and seeing how it goes in states that are ahead, that started opening sooner, and I hope it all goes well. You know, I'm hopeful that it will, but I think it's just pushing it too fast can be kind of dangerous in this situation. So hopefully these academies out there have a good plan, and they're taking their students' health and safety into top priority, as opposed to just kind of getting back to business, which I understand. You know, there's so many academies that have closed as a result of this, and it's really, really sad, and a lot of them are right on that edge, you know.
Exactly. So, you know, because if it was like maybe 1 month, 2 months, it might be okay, but if it goes on till like 6 months, you know, whatever, it's you know, serious stuff, especially for, you know, businesses like that. So
absolutely.
I just pray that everybody stays safe and we get through this and everybody can go back to their academies and, you know, train safe.
Absolutely. Well, it was a pleasure talking with you, Cindy. Is there anything that you'd like to promote? Anything that you'd like to close out with?
No, my whole thing, like every time I, you know, teaching at the academy or seminars, it's just like, you know, enjoy jiu-jitsu and have fun. You have to have fun when you're doing it. So you're learning, but you're having fun. So I love you all, and hopefully we'll get to talk soon. And thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for stopping by and being a part of the Ask a Black Belt segment. I'm really excited that we decided to bring this back so we could have lovely people like yourself on it. Aloha. Until we meet again.
Okay.